We've made a wrong turn, and this is a dead air episode. This is a Wrong Turn podcast. Hey, Courtney. How's it going?
Good. How are you, Edgar?
Not bad, not bad. I think we've made it. I think I was going to do, we've made a wrong turn, and we're completely unprepared for this episode. That's what I was going to do. Yeah.
Or we made a wrong turn, and we know we've been a little bit MIA. Lots been going on the past month, but we are okay, and we're here, and we're getting back on our recording schedule.
We made a wrong turn. I ended up in the hospital, and Courtney was on vacation.
I was on vacation. Also, I'm doing a bit of a job change right now, so there's lots of moving on. But you were in the hospital. You are okay. Let everyone know you're good.
Real life horrors, you know.
It is real life horror. It was scary. It was scary for a minute. We were not sure what was going on.
Yeah. People like, you know, it's basically how people died back in the day. I had a cellulitis. It was a infection of the soft tissue, and it was spreading up my leg from a small cut on my knee, and you could see the redness traveling up my leg, and the lymph nodes were hardening because my body was fighting an infection, and my knee had swelled up. It felt like it was the size of a grapefruit, and then like the more I look at it in the photo, I'm like, oh, it doesn't look. You know, like my knee looked like 1 or 2 times bigger than my other knee.
It was pretty gnarly.
If you looked at it from the side, you could definitely see it protruding. But like when I was taking the photo to work to like show as proof, and then like I feel like you could barely tell it was swollen in the photo. But you could see the redness. You could definitely see the redness. They made like a topographical map on my leg at the hospital to make sure that it was like receding. You know, like every day it was like getting farther and farther.
When I saw your leg, it clearly looked like it almost was bruised, or like the inflammation around it, like the color of your leg from your actual skin color was crazy.
I can only imagine what would happen if I would have been like, oh no, I'm fine. Like, I'm just going to walk it off, which I couldn't walk it off because I couldn't walk on my leg. It hurt like a mother. That was the other thing too. It hurt. It was unbearable pain in my leg, which would prompt me to go to the hospital because real life horror, getting misdiagnosed. And I went to urgent care before that, and they gave me the wrong medication. So hence my infection was only getting worse as I thought I was getting better. And then when I went to the ER, I was, had a fever and I had no idea, and then they were just like, yeah, you should be admitted now. And that was the beginning of my staycation at the hospital.
Yeah.
and my fiance, girlfriend, and wife, Ming, she gave me a sponge bath, but she wanted to use her tongue, and I just didn't think it was appropriate.
You were the one that was like, excuse me, ma'am. Not right now.
Professional setting.
You're like, I'm sick.
Wash your own ass, though.
Actually, she did. I couldn't walk, so actually, she did give me a shower.
All I heard was wash your own ass. All I heard.
Yeah.
Was
I did.
Forever, or what do they say? Till death do you part.
Yeah.
No, for better or for worse, in sickness and health. There you go.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah, that seat's so uncomfortable. I understand why it's like stainless steel so it doesn't rust, but you got to sit on like a cold metal frame because I couldn't walk. So I had to like sit and shower, which is really uncomfortable when you think about it because you got to get to like half your body and you're sitting on it regardless.
Yeah. Everybody know that you wash your own butthole, though.
I washed my own butthole. She did not wipe me at all. In any case, she wants everybody to know that she did not touch my star fruit.
That's where I draw the line.
And that's where sickness and health draws the line. I think she would have done it though.
Oh well,
she's saying no, but I'm pretty sure.
Maybe. But Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, it was a really good example of real life horror. It was one of those things where it could literally happen to anyone. Like, you don't even think about it. Like, the simplest thing, just like a little scratch on your leg, and you were like, holy shit. You know, like, it was scary.
I've had like various degrees before. Like, I've had a cat scratch fever before, where my cat at my time, when me and my roommate had like a pair of cats, and one of them scratched me under my eyelid, and that had gotten infected because it was like a deep gouge. And of course, it's the cat's claws aren't, particularly clean. And my lymph node on my neck had swelled up to the size of a baseball.
Ugh.
And I was like, I didn't have insurance, and there was no Obamacare back then. So I was just like, I didn't want to really go to the doctor. But scary thing is that sometimes when your lymph nodes get swollen and infected, they are not guaranteed to go back with medication. Like, they can get stuck like that. So you could get stuck with a lymph node the size of a fucking baseball. I mean, I guess they could cut it out. I've heard that recently. That you could cut
but that's, yeah. Well, healthcare in the United States, isn't that fun? Like, yeah. Let's not get into that.
Other than that, like, the hospital was fine. Like, it just, yeah, and I'm still kind of like, I'm still on antibiotics, and I'm still kind of like, dealing with like the pressure in my leg, and it's kind of uncomfortable to walk and bend and, like, be on it. But other than that, I'm alive. So they let me keep my leg.
They let me keep my leg. They did.
Yeah.
They said, sir, you can keep it. Just take your antibiotics and get out of here.
Well, I mean, I don't want to like it's funny because Ming's dad's a vet.
It's not funny. It's very serious. I know Ming's dad is a vet who has lost a leg.
He called me up. Yeah, he lost his leg. Not to the war, not to Vietnam.
You guys, not to the war, but still, he is a vet and he has lost his leg.
To the war against diabetes. But
it's like that Sunny episode. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but he called me up and he's like, "Hey, at least they let you keep your leg." And I'm like, he's the only person that can make that joke. You gotta appreciate it. A little sense of humor goes a long way.
Yes, that's true. Yes.
But we digress. The little real life horror, catching you up on where we were. A little bit later, Courtney's going to tell us where she was and a little adventure she went on. But right now, we're just going to talk about some stuff that we might have seen in the interim. And we, like Courtney said, we will be updating you guys with a new episode relatively soon. Mm-hmm. Hopefully in the next week or two when we get back to recording. We're technically still on schedule if this goes up by tomorrow.
Yes.
But
yes.
It won't be one of our regularly scheduled episodes. But yeah. So I'm going to start us off, Court.
Yeah, please do.
I'm going to start us off. I just been going through... been mixing it up a little bit, been watching a little bit of sci-fi, been doing some audiobooks, been doing, not as much horror as I would like, but I did see Imaginary, which I was really excited to see because I told you that I had this whole like horror movie mashup that was pretty much the exact same thing. Kind of let down. I'm just going to spoiler alert right now for anybody who hasn't seen it. It hasn't done great. As far as reviews are concerned, 4.7 on IMDb, 56% on Rotten Tomatoes, 34 on Metacritic. It had some really cool concepts and it had some really, really cool stuff in the beginning, and then we do get to some like really, really nice set pieces at the end, but I feel like the whole kind of just story just kind of falls flat. And it just doesn't.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm not going to give it away 100% because
don't. I always trust you, and I don't care about spoilers, but I understand our audience does. So yeah, don't give it away. But that is disappointing.
25% on Rotten Tomatoes, like that's not great. And they were like, from what I heard, I think I heard with a interview with the director, like and they were talking to Blumhouse and how Blumhouse wanted to do kind of like they were trying to go back to form with this movie and just being like, look, we're just gonna make just a weird paranormal fucking movie, and it's just going to be balls to the wall, and it should, hopefully it's good. And I was like, it's okay. You could probably do it again, maybe a little bit better.
Okay.
But like I said, they had some really, really good. The one thing I will get, and this is like early in the movie, and I'll talk about like my favorite part of the movie, was that it's like it's a family, right? Stepmom, 2 kids. The dad goes away. Stepmom's stuck with the 2 kids, and then the little girl has the imaginary friend, right? And then some neighborhood kid comes over, is kind of flirting with the older sister, and then the imaginary friend's kind of like messing around with, the neighborhood kid, and just because it's an imaginary friend can just really like play tricks on the mind, and I was just like, oh, that's so good, like. Basically could just make you hallucinate or just see whatever the fuck you want to see and just kind of play with you a la like Nightmare on Elm Street, a la like any just magical fucking nefarious creature. It was like, I was like, oh, you could do so much. There was so little of that in the movie that you're just like, I was like, there's your fucking concept right there. You had it. You could have played around with that so much, and I think you could have really, really had something there. But yeah, they do a little bit of it, and I really liked it for what it was, because it was super menacing. You're walking down a hallway, and all of a sudden you see a little fucking toy bear in the middle of the hallway, and then you turn around, it's not there, and then it's like on the other side, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? Great. I'm not doing it justice, but that's because you should at least see that part of the movie for sure.
Okay. No, I like that's. I mean, I get you.
Let's see. Did you want to do one? You want to do another one? Have you seen anything recently?
Well, okay. Well, there's been a few different things, but one I do want to watch, or that I had it on my list of like I need to watch this forever, and I finally did while I was in Minnesota. I watched the new Candyman. Finally. I know it's been out for a couple years, so it's Jordan Peele produced, starring. Oh shoot, what is his name? He's he's an Aquaman. I
full circle. You got to bring it back to Aquaman.
I always got it. Well, that's what I just remember. He's great in Aquaman, by the way. Even the second one, he's fantastic.
You know what? You're not wrong. He actually did a good job. Yeah, he was.
He did. He's a fantastic actor, and I know I'm a couple years late to this, but I loved the remake of Candyman. I thought they did it really, really well. And Yaya did fantastic. There was maybe a couple parts, it was like a little bit too much CGI, like blood and things like that, I thought, in it. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
Okay. But I loved it. That's all. I mean, I don't really know if you want to go. I just thought they did fantastic. Tony Todd makes like a little bit of a cameo in it, which I thought was great. And I liked the addition to it, meaning like I thought it carried the tale of Candyman really well. They like let you know what the origin story of the Candyman was, like it does in the original with Tony Todd, and then the different variations of it that's happened through different cultures and stuff like that. So like there's different versions of the Candyman, and then who is the Candyman. So I liked it.
No, I thought I loved it, the way they elaborated and basically gave you more of that world and the reason why it was happening. I thought it was spectacular. And considering like this is kind of more based off of what the original director had done with that first Candyman, because it is a Clive Barker book or a Clive Barker short story, but like this had any of the racial tones had nothing to do with like that Clive Barker story. It's just something they developed when they made it into a movie back then, and then the way Jordan Peele elaborated on it and expanded on those ideas, to have like a real conversation about like Black Lives Matter and police brutality, like it was fucking. I thought
as
it was
he
good.
does.
I thought it, and then of course there's always going to be people like, oh, well, he's fucking hitting you over the head with it, but like like that's what the first one was. Like, what do you think? Like the first one took place in the fucking ghetto.
Yeah,
about gentrification.
Exactly. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, I have read that about it, but I also think that movie did not get nearly enough credit as it deserves. Like, I feel like it kind of just like skated by. Like, I know people watched it, but holy shit, it was so good. I was like, oh my god! Like, I know Jordan Peele didn't direct it or anything,
You're right.
So
You're
but
right.
still,
It wasn't Jordan Peele.
It's
right?
fantastic.
It was Nia DaCosta, and I forgot it was her. She's the one who I'm trying to remember if he produced, but I'm not sure if she was the one who wrote it.
Yeah, he produced it, and it's a Monkey Paw production. So, and that's Jordan's studio, his production studio. So,
yeah, no, and like, and you definitely hit the bingo card because, like, Yaya's character, who his name, he definitely hit the bingo card for like one of the most tragic characters. Because he kind of Anthony's his name. Oh, because he did,
yeah, because
he didn't really. I mean,
Anthony.
In a lot of movies, we're like, yeah, because
him and his fiance.
Yeah, because
those are some tragic characters right there.
And all the previous Candymans before that, because we do this whole thing where, if our main character made a stupid fucking decision and then they ended up down a series of fucking consequences that led them down this path, like, oh well, that's what they get. But like, Yaya's character Anthony McCoy, like, kind of didn't do anything. He just kind of showed up. He was just like taking fucking photos, and he just, I guess, for lack of a better term, then you find out he was kind of like chosen since birth because he was the baby from spoiler alert.
He was the baby that got saved. Yeah, sorry, we spoiled it, but it's out. It has been. So, and also, if you don't know just the origin of Candyman's story in general,
but then he and the character suffers so much. I was just like, feeling for him the entire time. It's fucking blue because, like you said, he gets obsessive and he gets fucking wrapped up in his own fucking world, and like he starts to disregard his girlfriend and his mom and all this shit, but like doesn't equate to what the fuck happens to him. Not at all. Yeah.
True.
Oh yeah.
That is very true.
All we could do, and then good recommendation, 100%.
Yeah. That's all. And I mean, I have another one up top real quick, but you still need to watch it. Just a little shout out. We did get a free screener from the lovely people over at Wagyu Films for their film called Older Gods, written and directed by David A. Roberts. And I've seen it. I enjoyed it very much. A small production, and I do believe they filmed during the pandemic, And as you know, I have a huge soft spot for like any sort of UK productions. These people are from Liverpool, or at least the studio is from Liverpool. And I enjoyed it. I thought they did an excellent job. It is a horror, more so a psychological horror, and a bit of a mystery, because the whole story kind of goes around this main character, Chris, who goes back to the UK to figure out his friend Billy's suicide. He does not believe that it was a suicide, so he goes in to, kind of figure out what has happened. And I think it's shot beautifully, especially for a small production. And I love the look of any sort of small UK town. Oh, such a soft spot for me. But yeah, maybe a little bit more on that. So I just wanted to give them a little bit of shout out again, because you have not seen it yet, 100%. And you are going to take a look at
guys.
it.
Now we're getting screeners. Boom.
Boom. But yeah, it was a good one. So a little bit to be continued on that one.
I love it. And then going back to Candyman, and speaking of Clive Barker, one of the other things I was like kind of just revisiting movies that I really love to watch, and things that I grew up watching. So I'd rewatch Lord of Illusion, which I think is like early 90s. Doesn't hold up. It is a Clive Barker joint. And I'm just like this dude's given us a lot of movies, a lot of worlds to play with, hence Nightbreed, Hellraiser. He has like a series of children's books, kind of like Harry Potter. Like one of my children's books growing up was like A Thief of Always, and he has this other one called Lord of Illusion, because he has like a recurring character in some of his books. Like this guy, like, all right, let's cut back real quick. Clive Barker. All right, speaking of UK people, Clive Barker, British, but like homie's like, is he? Wait, I just want to make sure if he's British or not. I don't want to make sure he's Irish or anything. No, British. All right, but I don't want to confuse the two. but no.
No, thank you. They get upset.
Homie's like a writer, a painter. He does a lot. He's very good at a lot of things. A director, and so he has a recurring character called Henry D'Amour, which is kind of like a supernatural private investigator. He just kind of keeps getting tossed into supernatural things, and this is where the Lord of Illusion takes place, and he's investigating the death of a magician who actually has magic powers and used to be involved in a cult back in the 80s, kind of like a what if Charles Manson had like magic powers kind of a thing. I think the movie's fucking bonkers on fucking paper. And I think it has some fucking great scenes. The worst thing is that sometimes movies are edited on these streaming fucking services, and there's some really good scenes that were cut out. Or there's one really good scene that I know was cut out. There's the gratuitous sex scene that was cut out. I'm like, what the fuck's up with that? How dare they?
How dare they?
It's a camera revolving. I remember this is a camera revolving a bed, and they're like having they're kind of like sandwiched together in the middle of the bed, and they're like eye to eye, kind of like if you're sitting like cross-legged on top of it. I just remember being like, I was like waiting to see it. It's Scott. It's Scott Bakula and Famke Janssen who's like in this scene. So Famke Janssen from and she looked really young. So this is from 1995, so she was super young. She looked like a baby. And Scott Bakula from Homie from Quantum Leap, So it does have kind of like a TV feel for a little bit of it. And there was another scene where all the cult members are kind of like called back 20 years later. So like a lot of these cult members are, or I think it's 13 years later. They're kind of like Manchurian Candidate, kind of like triggered or called upon, and they all kind of like give up their lives immediately, and they're just kind of like killing anybody around them. So like there's like a stay-at-home mom who all of a sudden just like poisoned her entire family, and then it's just her having coffee with like a bunch of dead people around her, and they cut it out of the streaming version, and I'm like, that's one of the best scenes of the fucking movie, where you see all these murdered fucking people, or these awful scenes, because it just shows you how dedicated these cult members are. And I was just like, oh, I was basically like waiting. It sucks when you want to see something and you want to see it in its entirety and you're expecting it, and then you kind of get let down a little bit. But yeah, I have to find it. Daniel Von Bargen. He's a great character actor. He plays the cult leader who comes back from the dead. So fucking good. He does a great fucking job. But it's not great, but I think it's a great cult movie, 100%.
Okay. I haven't seen it, but I would need to see the correct version,
you need the
obviously. I need to see that sex
It's like Red Shoes Diary. Like, it is bad.
So dumb.
It's so awful. Bad. I'm not saying we're not getting any, you don't get any nudity, but it's just a nice, sultry, weird little scene where like, all of a sudden there's no walls and it's just a bed and the camera's revolving, I can imagine it's probably completely wrong. It's completely probably.
Yeah. Oh, it's very much probably completely wrong, because I think as any of us adolescents, like if we saw a sex scene and it was just two bodies, like naked looking bodies, like just sort of on top of each other, we were like, oh my God.
They're doing it. 100%. They're doing
it. And that was sort of enough. Like that's all we, like our little brains could handle.
There's And I was just thinking about it the other day, like Clive Barker had something with his character, Henry DeMore. Like, I think he wrote, like, recently, there was another, the Sacred Gospels, which I think is like Hellraiser mixed in with Henry DeMore. So it's like, I think he's investigating, like, Cenobites coming back and, like, taking people, something like that. Like, it's great. And of course, there's a bunch of, like, supernatural paranormal investigators in genre, like Henry Constantine and fucking Dylan Dog and all these other people. But I was like, he had one. He had a really, really good one. But yeah.
No, sorry. Like, I know we were just going on Clive Barker because I very remember his 2009 just Book of Blood, not the Books of Blood, which are books. There is just one 2009 film called Book of Blood, which sucked. I remember it was not great.
Which one are we talking about?
But I have such a it's just 2009, and it's titled Clive Barker's Book of Blood. That's all it's called. I just remember I was just really into the lead actor at the time. His name's Jonas Armstrong. Because he was on this UK show, the UK version of Robin Hood, which I loved, which is great. There's only 3 seasons of it. It's not horror at all. But it was a really good take on the Robin Hood story. And that is how I got, and I found this movie because that actor is in it. But I just remember that it's not great. And I was really disappointed by it. That's all. I mean, that just came to my head when you were talking about it.
Books of Blood is the 2020 release. Now, that's why I was like so fucking confused.
I was like, they already made Book
of Blood. Okay.
Just Book of Blood. I know, but just book, not books. Oh, we can watch it. It's on Tubi for free. How exciting!
We could go through it.
We could go through Book of Blood just cause.
But it's a good concept.
We might. Who knows? Because it's free to watch on Tubi.
Or you go through that story on paper, you're like, that's kind of fucking bonkers. Kind of, like, spoiler alert if anybody hasn't watched it, like, the main character fakes that he can see dead people, then turns out he does become a conduit for spirits, and they all basically go through him or pass through him, start to write on his skin, and he becomes the Book of Blood
on his skin.
Oh, and then at the end, can we just give it away? Yeah, he gets fucking skinned, and like so good. I don't even know if they keep writing on it after he's skinned. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's such a fantastic story, but for some reason that 2009 version, I was I just we serious right now?
Might have been like not great, but it's funny though because he's a con artist in the beginning, and then you find out, Mishi doesn't like me. Oh, she's like, you're talking too much, Mishi. But
she's like, what? Stop talking.
They do that thing where like, they divulge all of his secrets, like how he conned everybody, and then his whatever boy cries wolf, right? And then it all becomes true. Yeah. I don't know what
That's
Books
exactly
of Blood's
happens.
about though.
Yeah. I know, but it's a Clive Barker though, and the thing is, Books of Blood were the books that he wrote originally. Not to sound like what about it, but we should probably look into Books of Blood just cause. But yeah, cool idea, cool story. But I just remember the movie. I was really disappointed by that, and it sucked because I was a big fan of Jonas Armstrong, the lead guy in that movie. But only in Robin Hood terms. Go watch Robin Hood if you have some time, but it's not horror related.
Yeah, and if you come away with anything during this episode, Clive Barker's a G.
He is a G, as always. Yeah. Clive Barker's a G.
Let's see. The only other thing that I've been into is I've been trying to fucking just cram horror audiobooks. And I've been going through a few.
Have you? Okay.
I did go through the Ruins book version because I kind of always liked the movie, and if you've never seen the movie, I think it was just kind of like a fun little film that take one location. And I think it's a great little fucking horror film that just didn't get its fucking just due, because I think it came out like during a time where a bunch of other stuff had dropped, and it was just bad timing.
Yeah, I got lost. That's what happens a lot. There's just so much content. There's so much content.
But then it turns out, like the guy who wrote it, this guy named Scott Smith, I believe he also wrote. Yeah, A Simple Plan, which was adapted from the Sam Raimi adapted for the movie with Billy Bob Thornton. But yeah, A Simple Plan, the movie's fantastic. And it turns out he had done a second one, The Ruins, which was also adapted for this. He wrote the adapted version for film of The Ruins, and I guess he just decided to change up all the characters and the way they died and stuff like that. I was like, all right, the actual author gets to play around with his work of fiction a second time. That was kind of interesting. Another one I had crammed was Ghost Eaters by, I think, Clay Chapman. Mm-hmm. It's great because it's just like, it has to do with like what if you could take a drug and see ghosts, and like the high you get from it and then the addiction you get from it afterwards. And I'm just like using it all as metaphor. I'm just like, I thought that was pretty spectacular, and I'll just leave it at that.
That sounds like something I could be okay. I have to look into that because that sounds interesting.
Like, it's almost like the drug use is more terrifying than the actual drug itself and what you see afterwards, and just like what happens to you when you become an addict. That was fucking, that was a little foot. Yeah, 100%.
Wild. Especially if you want to go down that route, the addict route, which is something I enjoy.
If you do have any substance abuse problems, for sure.
Yes, that trigger warning for that. But real quick on my end. Two that I watched on Netflix. So if anyone has the Netflix account wants to go. One that I did not like. I don't know if you watched it. Killer Book Club. I thought it was fucking dumb as hell. Let me take a look at it real quick as you talk about it. Go for it. I so badly wanted to like it, and I think if it's something we wanted to do for our good old Wrong Turn, it would work out well for us. Yeah, I don't know. I think you could probably just look at the poster and be like, really? I don't know. It's all about some friends, our classic young eight friends get together. What is it? Oh yeah, the killer clown who seems to know the grim secret they all share and starts killing them one by one. So kind of a classic little horror movie here. I guess I was mostly just disappointed that the deaths weren't as fun as they could have been, much like what we talk about. I don't know. What do you think, just based on looking at the cover? The guy's supposed to be a clown, which I think that's maybe frustrated the most, is I didn't get clown from this killer at all. Yeah. So, and that's a little thing that I just didn't enjoy from it. I don't know, what do you think?
Maybe I'll give it a watch, but that's the unfortunate part though, because like it's like, let's go back to Bingo Card. Like that's if you're making a horror movie, that's like one of the things you need off of the list that you need to hit, right? You need either characters that you really love to hate, or characters that you're endeared with and you feel for, and then you need some good death scenes to either like revel in it or like, be triggered by it or not, or feel for it, right? Or to be have a trigger of empathy for it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it hits, at least in my opinion. And I'm like, if you don't got good death scenes, any good movie that you could like list off the top of your head, you could probably remember a good death scene from, and you'd be like, oh yeah, bear trap scene, like.
Exactly. And I mean, you know me, and like I am here for any sort of campy thing and all for a laugh, even if it's silly. But for some reason, this one I was just kind of really let down on. It was just too much of like every single actor is hot, which is great, good for them. I understand why they were cast, but it was just so much of like, look at us, we're hot, we're young, we're hot. Now we're getting killed, and I'm like, okay, like, which is it's a classic like horror trope.
Yeah, but you need to kill your hot deaths, your hot characters. Like, all right, look.
I guess it was just there wasn't any.
Let's go through it real quick off the top of my head. Nightmare? No, is it Friday the 13th remake where the girl gets burned inside the sleeping bag upside down? Memorable death scene. Let's go with bump it up, Friday Nightmare on Elm Street where Christina gets like fucking tossed around the room. Memorable death scene, like very elaborate. Like if you don't got a good death scene,
I just think that there wasn't a whole lot of. Okay, no, go ahead.
During the Scream reboot, they didn't have good death scenes, but they had upped the gore or the bloodiness, so like you'd see the knife inside, like go through the characters, even though it was a CG knife.
Right.
You're like, I remember watching and one of the things I enjoyed about the movie was like, oh, that's gruesome. Like that's intense. But I remember it. You wanna leave something with the audience, essentially.
Yeah, and it's good. It's funny you mentioned Scream because I think when I looked into like a little bit of the research, I was like, this was like such a blatant ripoff of it. But they couldn't even get it right in that sense. Like it's like they were trying to replicate it, and it just didn't deliver. There wasn't a lot of emotion. There wasn't, and even with the kills, it was on Rotten Tomatoes as 8%.
Ooh, that's pretty rough.
So no, I got
23% here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What am I looking at? Why am I'm getting shown 8.
Oh yeah,
but
right.
I guess if you.
Oh, I did see an 8 over here. That's weird.
Well, actually, but if you go into just looking at the regular, like just on its, it does say 23. So which is correct? We don't know.
I mean, it's just gonna, go down the, horror history as like one of those other slasher movies I tried, another thing out the bingo card, a memorable slasher. Right, so then like I sort of see what they were trying to do. They're trying to make a very memorable character with this clown figure,
and they just missed the mark. I think he was my
design.
It was my least favorite thing to watch, which is like, and that's your guy, right?
That's your guy. I mean, you're making a part 2 with the same guy. I don't know.
I'm like, that's the guy, right? And I'm like, this is a clown. And then I like the idea of maybe going something a little bit different than your standard looking clown. And there's a lot of clown horror movies. We get it. I don't know. Says me, the film expert.
Yeah, hardly. We are hardly.
Hardly.
But we try.
We try. But let me just go into another Netflix one that I did enjoy a lot. And then you also said you liked it, or you said one thing, you liked The Mask. It's The Conference.
The bingo card. Like, you got a memorable killer. Like, I've only seen part of this movie, and I remember The Mask.
Yeah. And again, this killer in this movie is fucking awesome. And this is a slasher. Like, this is one where I encourage everyone to sit down and enjoy a good slasher. Like, the bit of the backstory, but nonetheless, I really enjoyed it.
If I remember, they all work on like an IKEA, right? Or like IKEA corporate.
Yes, sort of. Yeah, it's Swedish, so that kind. They don't say it, but yes, it's yeah.
And they're doing a weekend, like their executives are doing like a weekend retreat or something.
Yes. Yeah, it's like a weekend work thing. And there is a lot of gore, and it's really violent, and it's campy. So I fucking love that shit. But it's just done really well, and I enjoyed it. Like, there's a guy that gets like cut in half with an engine. Again, I'm not ruining it for anyone. There's some really good kills.
There's so many like slashers that have fallen to the wayside because of
there are
of like.
But this is one. It's Swedish. You have to watch it with subtitles, but I don't mind that at all, man. I enjoyed it a lot.
I kind of want to just do a list on like the worst slashers that like never got their due.
I mean, we could go on, just go back on like how much content there is on the internet, and like if you go into Tubi makes its own movies. You can watch any one of those and be like, what the hell?
I saw a French one was a little kid, like a dubbed one. And it was just like kids that were stuck at a college or a high school or prep school or whatever. And there was like a clown after them. And I'm like, and I don't know why. I just like, you accidentally pick up the wrong movie at the Blockbuster. And it was just like, oh, this isn't great. But now I remember this weird fucking clown looking dude. Oh, it was more like a gesture thing because it was French. Even though they were trying to make it look like it was an American version because of the dub or whatever. But yeah. All right. No. I'm going to definitely try to rewatch The Conference, and I might watch, what was it? Horror Book Club?
It's Killer Book Club.
Good name.
Yeah.
But that was probably American marketing.
Good name. It might have been because it's from it's in Spanish as well, so you have to watch it with subtitles. But you speak Spanish, so you don't need to.
I wonder what the actual name was. See, when you said it, I thought it was an adapted version of Final Girl Support Group, which is a book by Grady Hendrix. Which Grady Hendrix has been doing great, like as far as like the last few years. He wrote My Best Friend's Exorcism, which I think was done on Amazon, which was okay, but he's got a bunch of horror books, and Final Girl Support Group I think is one of his better ones, because it's just like, what if you were a part of a support group and there was every final girl from every movie trope ever, but they'd really had happened. It's such a good concept. It's like, but they all have different names and they all have different killers, because of whatever, licensing, right? But they have like they have the Nightmare on Elm Street version, but he was like really like a landscaper, and they said he would like, creep on people at night. They had the Friday the 13th one, and they had the Jason, the Michael one, and all these characters grew up, and they were kind of like Laurie Strode in the Halloween reboot, or the 2020 Halloween, whatever, which one. And it was, they're all fucked up. They all have they're all super paranoid. They're constantly watching their back. They all have their plans, like what to do, their go bags, all this stuff. And you're just like constantly in this state of like paranoia. I loved it. I thought it was great.
I like that.
That one's got it.
Yeah, I like that idea.
That one has to be made. If all of this stuff that should be made, that one 100% should be made. But they kind of did it already with the Halloween one, I guess. So you're gonna get like 5 Laurie Strodes. But
no, there's an idea there for sure. I'm writing it down. Who knows?
But I mean, like I said, I'm sure people aren't like he's on people's radar because Best Friend's Exorcism, I thought was an okay. Okay movie. It wasn't my favorite, but he's very creative because he's got like 4 or 5 books and they're all different, but they're wildly engaging. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So we've actually chewed the scene quite a bit, but Courtney was on a little bit of a trip. You got a little story for us, Courtney.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, facts, I suppose. If you guys have been listening, I am from Minnesota, and so I took a quick trip to go visit my family. And when I was there, I finally got to go into the Glensheen mansion, which is in Duluth, Minnesota, and it's notorious. Like, I grew up always hearing that it was haunted because there was a murder. 2 murders that happened in the house, and it was her name was Elizabeth Congdon, and she was, I believe, the oldest daughter of the family that owned the home. So the home was built in like 1908, I want to say, and at the time it cost $850,000, and I think we did that math, and I want to say it's like $29 million now. And this place is huge. It is 22 acres. It sits right on Lake Superior. it's insane. This house is insane. I got to walk through the whole entire thing, upstairs to the bedrooms, into the attic, and into the rooms where, you know, Elizabeth was murdered. She was suffocated, and then her night nurse was hit over the head with a candlestick, which is very Clue-like. Not to make like a little bit of a joke, but it was, the house kind of looks like it could be a Clue house, to be real.
Like if you were literally in the Clue house, like it's just that.
Exactly.
So like it's just all. Oh, I'm seeing a photo here. It's like everything's made of wood from top to bottom. Everything's polished. Oh, it's a rich people.
It really was. It was like, oh, they were insanely rich. They were wealthy. And now the house is owned by, or that was given to the University of Minnesota when Elizabeth died. So it is run by the university and all that stuff like that. So it's taken completely taken care of. Everything is in pristine condition. You can visit it. They have multiple tours. They keep the tours pretty small, but during the summer, like they even have parties outside, like in the pier area. There's like a little pier out there, and bands will play on top of there, and you can like take out your kayaks and your canoes and like go out on the water and stuff. It's really cool. But basically, the murders, to the point of this is that the house is allegedly haunted because people have said they've seen like a woman and stuff like that, which would be Elizabeth, you'd think, or the night nurse, who murdered them. It was Elizabeth's daughter, and then at the time, the daughter's boyfriend.
Wait, so they were caught?
They were caught, yes. They got arrested, but Roger, the boyfriend, was the only one that went down for it. And then Marjorie, the daughter, was acquitted, but that lady was up to like no good. Like her children even sided with, like, were against her and were like, she was involved with the murder. Like, there's no way that the Roger guy did it by himself. But again, she was acquitted. So, like, she never did time for that. But she did a bunch of other, like, crazy shit where she, wait, excuse me. It says right here, it goes, rather than risk an acquittal at retrial, they did a deal for her. Or no, that was Roger. Roger ended up confessing to both of them. So he confessed to it and then committed suicide back in 1988. But yeah, Marjorie got away with it, and she did like more shitty things. And the whole reason why she did it was she wanted her money, and because she was supposed to be given like $8 million at the time of her mother's death. But of course, the fine print was like her mother was supposed to die like of natural causes as she was intended to, and not be murdered. So she never got her money. And I think she only got like $40,000 a year from said trust once it was all done and over with. But thinking about how rich this family was, that was like nothing.
Well, wait, so she didn't get anything because she was involved in the murder? Or like her mom had basically like just like extra out of the will, knowing that like her daughter was kind of a piece of shit?
Her children, so Marjorie, the woman that basically murdered her mother, or got her boyfriend, quote unquote, let's say because her boyfriend took the fall for it, murdered her mother and the night nurse. Her children actually filed a suit against their mother because they were straight up like, no, she was part of this. Like, we understand that Roger took the fall for it and went to jail, but she made him do it. Kind of that whole thing.
Gotcha.
So with her children filing against her, she was then only limited to a certain amount of money from her inheritance. So she clearly did not get no $8 million. And the lady's still alive today. I don't know where she's at, but she's heard basically not allowed. You're not allowed. She's not part of the family anymore.
Did they like, hey, remember you kind of like killed her mom, so you're not invited to the reunion this year.
You don't get to come to Christmas.
Yeah. Well, that's one way to get out.
That's one way to get out. But what I wanted to say is, overall, that house is so well taken care of. It's a huge part of Minnesota history. It's one of the most beautiful homes I've walked through, honestly. Like, I was so surprised that it was so gorgeous inside, and everything is pristine and as is. They have they have old typewriters, they have old sheets that belong to the house and were used, like, it was crazy. So if it is haunted, maybe it is. I like to think that it is, just because it's a cool story. But I think that if it is haunted, the ghosts are friendly. Like, there was not like a bad energy in that house whatsoever.
We'll need Ming, our resident medium, to walk through the house and tell us if she's kind of like a, kind of like a tuning fork for some stuff. And she's just like, I don't like it here. She's like, we got to go. So
yeah,
fair. I trust her. I tend to trust.
Yeah.
When some people say this place got bad juju, I'll be like, but I'm looking at some of these photos. This green room is like, dude.
That room was my favorite. It was just like
I was like, it ain't haunted.
Well, I mean, all right. So we've talked about it, but we did like a slight thing on it before. But yeah, I mean, does two murders make a haunting? I'm not so sure, especially when maybe, I mean, I don't know, maybe the night nurse, maybe, maybe she's taking.
The night nurses was obviously much more brutal because she was like literally to the back of the head with a candlestick.
I mean, there was two people.
So I would imagine.
I mean, you could have done it either way. That's just sloppy work. I'm just saying.
It's sloppy.
Everybody's agreeing.
It's sloppy. Look, if you're gonna kill your mom because you're trying to get money, you did it wrong.
1977.
Like, you have to make it look like an accident. It clearly wasn't.
Yeah, it's 1977. It wasn't that long ago. Like, yeah, big ones, but like you could have like.
No, they didn't have the good.
They didn't have the good computers back then. He couldn't have researched it himself, but I'm sure he could have. I don't know, read a fucking novel or something.
AOL.
No, yeah. AOL's always been around. All right, but like, yeah, but I'm looking at photos and then like covered in the snow, kind of looks like the Overlook Hotel from The Shining. Like, this place is massive, fucking brick,
It's huge.
Just completely built by brick mansion. This is fucking bananas. Yeah, some of these rooms are spectacular.
Oh yeah, I think in the summertime it's probably a way different like vibe. It's probably like, because during the summertime it's beautiful because it's all green and the flowers and everything. I was there in spring, and springtime in the Midwest is not pretty. Everything's muddy and de-thawing. Don't get me wrong, it was still beautiful. I loved it. But in the winter, with the snow, there's a whole different level of spooky. When you look at the pictures with snow, like, it's a whole different, like, ooh, could there be ghosts in that house? Possibly. But in the summer, it just looks like a cool place to hang out.
No, they got a like event calendar. They got like family events going on down here by the lake, but these motherfuckers, they have a virtual tour. They're gonna charge you $5 to look at it on the internet. These like the fucking Glensheens need any more money.
I don't think they do, unless it's going to the University of Minnesota. But I don't even know. Like, it's I could
sort of see how they why they would have given it up. Like, why would I want the house that my mom was murdered in? That was. Yeah.
Perhaps maybe that was part of it, being like, you know what, we're not gonna have Christmas anymore in this house.
Next to just, hey Timmy, watch out for the blood stain from the night nurse. Yeah, that's a little rough.
Yeah, my mom was so funny though, you guys, because I went with both my parents, and as we were walking up the stairs, my mom literally goes, "Now I think it was right here where the nurse got the nurse got murdered," and I was like, oh, okay. Like,
I mean, I get it.
Like, that woman has done her research. We should really get her on here to tell
record it.
She's walked through that house so many times.
Record it with your mom. But we'll edit it down. We'll put it up on the pod for sure, 100%. I love a little, any sort of true crime, and somebody that knows what they're talking about. Yeah, give me a story.
Oh yeah, like she might have a membership to this house. She doesn't, but she might need to get one.
But like, all right, so, but then sometimes with like places like this, there is a sense of like foreboding. So you would feel like, oh, I could feel that this is a dark fucking place. And if you don't feel it, then like maybe those spirits fucking moved on, and this lady's up there on the other fucking side partying, just getting fucking, jamming out, with Jesus and Elvis, maybe. Ming's like, nah, she's in fucking hell.
She's in fucking. I would like to go to it when it's winter, like cold, snow on the ground, trees are bare. I want to, I feel like it's just going to be a much more spookier vibe. Like, I like the pictures of the house when it's winter versus when it's summer. Because when it's summer, it just looks like it's fun.
But we went to the
which I'm sure it is. It looks like a really fun place and all the events that they do. Yeah. But is it haunted? I don't know. You guys. It didn't feel haunted, but it was a beautiful house.
Are they marketing it that, it's like a fucking spooky place,
There's so many they don't sell anything in the gift shop or anything like that would make you think that. But of course, I was talking to the people working there.
Be like, oh, night nurse Marilla.
Yeah, no, there was nothing. Yeah, in the actual Glensheen mansion where they were like, yeah, this is haunted. But if you go to any other touristy place around there, they'll have books about it. They lean into it, but the house itself does not. But of course, I was talking to one of the kids that worked there because I'm pretty sure it's all the University of Minnesota kids that work there that go to the Duluth campus because they're all young. And one of the guys was really funny. He was just like, well, I can't say anything. And but I was like, oh, I think he's like, if I saw a ghost, I'd run out of here. And I'm like, I think you just tell people that. But he was funny. So they know, everyone knows, it's a long thing that it's haunted and because of these murders.
I don't know, but I feel like ghosts have a reverse curfew and they only come out at night. So if nobody's here at nighttime.
Yeah, I agree.
And the same thing, we were at the Winchester mansion last year, and we talked about it a little bit, and the same thing. We didn't feel that one. Nobody actually died. Of maybe the lady died, the Winchester lady. I forgot her name. Might have passed away, but of natural causes. And the only thing you really get is that she was just conned into making all these rooms because she felt guilt about how much how much damage her legacy had done as far as the Winchester name and rifles and all the people that died, making since the invention of firearms and things like that. And yeah, she had just made all these extra rooms and windows because she was just convinced that way the spirits couldn't haunt her that way. And as long as there was always construction going around, they would confuse the spirits. And I'm like, that's fucking bonkers. That's fucking bananas. Especially because all that money that was just spent on the constant construction and all the things that don't make sense as far as the stairs that go nowhere. That's just the sign of somebody that's unstable. In that sense, that's fascinating. Yeah. But haunted? No. Yeah. By all means, no. 100%.
Exactly.
But they sell it like that, though.
Think it's just...
They market it heavily.
Of course. Well, yeah, there's a movie. We talked about that, too, because you guys went to go see it. I think. With Helen Mirren, and the movie's That's all I've never seen it. No, I'm never watching it. I was not impressed by it. But that was another thing, though, because my mom's a big fan of that house, too. She's never been in it. I know she wants to see it.
It's fucking fascinating. I don't know if it's just because...
Sure. It's absolutely fascinating, but I agree with you where it's haunted. Is it? Same with the Glensheen mansion. I'm like, is it haunted? I don't know. I get something terrible happened in that house. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's haunted. But I like it. I'm here for it. I'll check out any haunted space. Cool. But it didn't feel that way. It was a very well taken care of home, and they're taking care of it. So I like it.
We hope we put up some photos up on the gram.
I did.
Did you already?
There's a cute little reel. There's a little reel I made about the story of it in itself and some of the pictures that I took. That's on our Instagram. There was one. I think they did it on purpose. Maybe they didn't, but there was a creepy doll in a rocking chair in one of the bedrooms, and I laughed. I feel like that was them being like, "Ooh, this is spooky." But That's just it. So there's like a little bit of like, yeah, we're in on it, but also, it might not be haunted.
Okay.
It's just a part of Minnesota history, and it's a beautiful part of it.
Yeah. Well, glad you're back. And glad you had an adventure. All right. Well, we need to do more of these. 100%. All right, guys. Anything else, Court?
Again, we're getting back on our recording schedule, and hopefully we can be putting more of these dead airs out alongside our regular episodes.
Yeah, because we not only like talking about this, I love, intaking and just consuming as much of this fucking media as possible in any form. Like, I just realized there's I was given an ad for a horror game called Simulacrum, and I'm like, what the fuck is this, like virtual girlfriend? And then when I was reading the synopsis for it, it's you are a person who finds a phone of a girl who's missing, and you're going through her phone to find out what happened to her, and it's like real actors playing out this girl who's missing, and it turns out she might be unstable, and you're trying to figure out what happened to her. And I'm like, this is a fucking game,
and this is a video
it's
game?
Fucking bonkers.
Oh my god!
So that's fucking horrific. Yeah. There was another one too, kind of in a similar space, where it was all done with real actors, and I think you are watching videotapes of an interrogation, and you're trying to figure out if this character actually committed this crime or not. And I think it's like you go through different versions, depends on what you choose. And I can't remember it, and I think it might be the same company, but I'm like, that's fucking fascinating. That's a really, really engaging, and I thought it was a really, really good idea. But I'm like, yeah, but it's available for PlayStation 4. Huh, look at that. All right, guys.
Maybe, I know we've talked about it briefly. Hold on, and we're going to end this, but maybe we'll introduce some video games to this.
Maybe, but we need time to play things, and that's not.
Yeah,
That's not. Like, maybe.
I mean, I only own an N64 and a PS2. Like, I have none of the new shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe small games, but like one little horror game I could recommend would be, I can't even remember the name of it, but it was so good. See, that's how bad I am at it. No.
Well, I have this horror game on my N64 called Creatures that I want you to take a look at, because I could never get that far in it because it scared me. Also, I was like little when I first started playing it, and I haven't really revisited, but I still have it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, the games are a whole other world. And I think I started a remastered version of a game called Alan Wake, which turns out you're a horror author, and you're very much a Stephen King type, and then turns out your wife goes missing, and it's all very supernatural, and then you're not really fighting anything other than you're just like shining the light in the darkness to like try to like ward things away. And I remember the side scroller game. There was a really, really good side scroller, really dark game called Limbo. Super, super good. I think it's only like $5. And it's really, really creepy, and you play a little dead boy walking across like a side scroller, like little things come at you and basically just murder you, and your whole thing is just to survive. It's great. And then the other one they came out with, the same company, called Inside, which I haven't played yet, but
oh my god, I love Inside. Holy shit.
Played it?
I love Inside. I never played it, but I've watched one too many playthroughs of it. So I know exactly what happens, and I know exactly what to do. So I would love to play it. But oh my god, I was obsessed.
Oh, wait, did I play Inside?
I was obsessed.
Oh, did I? I think
when that thing first came out, I was obsessed with watching playthroughs of it because I could not actually get the game. So, I loved every second of it.
I might have done a demo. Maybe I think I only got it so far. But I might just have to buy it now. All right, guys, have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you guys on a regularly scheduled
thank you.
episode, maybe in a week or two. We're going to mix it up, and we hope to do more stuff. And thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.